What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, the Puerto Rican conservative, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about something that I identify as the systemic destruction of Puerto Rico, Puerto Ricans, and the Puerto Rican culture. Now, there's a problem. The problem is that many people, including Puerto Ricans, have grown comfortable, both socially and politically, with the stereotype that Puerto Ricans in general are lazy, incompetent, and incapable. And that's why Puerto Rico is in the condition that's in today. Because of this, what I wanted to do was challenge that idea with an argument or idea of my own. One that points at what I believe is a plot pre-designed by social engineers to culturally and economically destroy Puerto Rico and Puerto Rico's nationalist party using three identifiable stages. Now, no matter how impossible the idea of ideological or information warfare may appear to be, there is absolutely nothing new or impossible about it. The concept of information war was first introduced to America by the Soviet Union in the 1920s and implemented against Americans in the form of ideological subversion, also known as the dumbing down of America. Now, the purpose of this video is to put critical thinkers to think critically about every component that makes up this video so that through your own observation, you can draw your own logical conclusion. Stage one of the plan begins in the 1940s. A silent war began between Puerto Rico's Nationalist Party and America's Democratic President Harry Truman. Tensions eventually escalated to a deadly point, influencing the assassination attempt against Truman's life by Puerto Rican nationalists Oscar Collazo and Griselio Terresoro on November of 1950. The recently elected/appointed first governor of Puerto Rico, Luis Muñoz Marin, along with Puerto Rico's Popular Democratic Party and the Industrial Development Company, came together and designed Operation Bootstrap, an economic project specifically designed to move Puerto Rico away from the agrarian economic system, which provides self-reliance and self-determination to all nations, including America, to one relying on the American industrial economy, with the purpose of destroying Puerto Rico's ability to agriculturally produce the products Puerto Rico requires for sustenance, and through it, any realistic hope of ever being self-reliant, causing the decline in popularity of Puerto Rico's Nationalist Party, whom today represent less than 6% of the entire island. By stage two, in the 1950s and 60s, Operation Bootstrap failed in both enticing the agricultural labor force to come into the industrial sector and in encouraging enough companies to go to Puerto Rico. By the middle of the 1960s, something unexpected happened. Two companies, Kennecott Copper and American Metal Climax, during mining expeditions in Puerto Rico, concluded that an area in Puerto Rico known as Adjuntas had an estimated 4 billion pounds of copper, including 17 different deposits of iron, gold, cobalt, nickel, and bauxite. But here's the problem. The area in Adjunta, Lares, Jayuya, where these deposits were located, are on land owned and worked by Puerto Rican farmers, most nationalist sympathizers. So after this information is brought back to big companies and corporations in America, someone somewhere begins to lobby for tax code 936, which offers U.S. companies and corporations a substantial tax credit for doing businesses in Puerto Rico. And as expected, many companies go to Puerto Rico with the promise of more tax credits and federal tax exemptions. Almost overnight, the agricultural sector in Puerto Rico is abandoned and the industrial sector is embraced, causing farmers to sell their lands and make a transition from the agricultural sector into the industrial sector in search of working and living wage. Now, by the 1980s, a silent agreement is reached between the government of Puerto Rico and ExxonMobil, who is then allowed to buy 37,000 acres of what was once farmland to excavate copper, silver, and gold deposits without having to give nationalists or the people of Puerto Rico any rights to it. And conclusively, stage three. By the 1990s, once Democrats in the U.S. realized Puerto Rico's Nationalist Party no longer threatened their agenda, Bill Clinton came in and replaced Tax Code 936 with Tax Code 30A. As everybody knows, Operation Bootstrap failed for 2 decades till Tax Code 936 was adopted in the 1970s. And that it was this tax credit and federal tax exemption that enticed U.S. companies and corporations to go to Puerto Rico. So when it was taken away by Bill Clinton, what do you think happened? Well, 400,000 jobs lost by the next year and an additional 200,000 codependent on the bigger companies. 1/5 of Puerto Rico's population unemployed in less than a year, and by 1993, Bill Clinton signs the NAFTA agreement, which then sends the majority of manufacturing, technical, textile, assembly jobs taken out of blue-collar Puerto Rico and sent to Mexico. Puerto Rico hasn't been able to establish an economy since 1996, and even though the lying media points at a recession, the cause and culprit, let's remember that the recession started on March of 2001 and didn't hit its peak till September 11th when we experienced a 1.7% national economic contraction. Now, we're in 2020 and Puerto Rico is still being excavated. And after almost 40 years, the gold excavation project is almost due to finish this year. After all of our island's riches are once again stolen from the people and the land that owns it. And once they're gone, Puerto Rico is left damaged and fractured from all of the mining explosions in Las Minas de Adjunta. Do you think it's a coincidence that Puerto Rico has had 950 earthquakes in less than a month since the year 2020 began? Do you also believe it's a coincidence that the earthquakes, which normally occur near the northern part of Puerto Rico, repositioned itself near Jayuya, Adjunta, and Lares naturally? I don't think so. I think it's time for you guys to open up your eyes and begin to see things for what it is. People in Puerto Rico are not working towards your benefit or towards your future. With that being stated, stay safe, stay informed, and God bless.